Da-da-da-da. Oh wait, I gotta check one thing. Oh, that looks great. Never mind. We're ready to rock and roll. Brrrah. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I present to you. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Live with Wolfman. I am your host, Jacob Wolfman, and this is a show about all the things that you are interested in. And needless to say, all the things I'm interested in. Today, we have the president of NBL USA. He wants me to be very clear that it's the president of USA. I'm going to call him El Presidente. I got El Presidente del NBL here with me today, dressed very appropriately for this month's theme, I guess. Everybody, give me all the floating reactions, all the thumbs ups, everything you got for Mr. Jeff DOSS. What? Jeff, you are live on the show. How are you doing today, sir? I'm digging the Christmas vibe you got going on. Dude, you're live. Yeah, so Jeff, if you're watching the live feed, yeah, we're about 10 seconds delayed or something. Oh, you're an expert. Merry Christmas. So I know that Super Grands always happens during, the Christmas New Year's time. So is that going to be your official apparel during Super Grands? Oh man, dude, you need an ugly Christmas suit. That would be. Oh. It's all good. What's up, boys? So, first off, I think that we have to clear the air, and we have to establish what your exact title is, because I just call you the president of NBL because it's easier to say, but you're not actually the president of NBL. You're the president of the USA division, correct? So what exactly does that entail? I'm sorry, Jeff. 1 second. Sorry. I thank you, Wolfpack. I totally have you muted. I know. You think I'd learn after 52 episodes how to do this?
Yeah.
All right. Hold on. Input. There. Output. Give me a mic test. Almost have it. Nope, that's not it. Try one more time. Give me a mic test.
Oh. All right. Hello. It is Jeff DOSS.
One more time.
Oh, I heard something. Check.
All right. Almost.
Hello.
I almost got you figured out. Okay, so the audience can hear you now. Now I just have to get rid of an echo. Oh, I'm so sorry about this. Man, I did this to you last time, didn't I?
Yeah. Well, last time though was the first time, so it's okay.
But now it's not acceptable.
Yeah, I know.
All right. I got so excited. I was like, this is easy. Let's click. Usually I do like this whole pre-game, and I have the guest. I'm like, can you hear me? Can I hear you? And all this stuff. And yeah. I was like, I got it this time. Jeff knows what to do, and I failed. I'm sorry, Wolfpack. So anyhow, Jeff, thanks for being on the show.
Yes. I'm excited. And Merry Christmas.
All right, so let's start again. We can skip the ugly sweater talk, but let's talk about, basically, Jeff promised that he would. We missed your comment about Boyce, so that's like kind of, you got lucky there. You don't have to say it again.
Yeah, no, it's all right.
Yeah, so there you go. So we're talking about your position as president of NBL in the USA. Can you please explain to us exactly what that entails?
So what we are trying to do now is to where each country has a president, and we are, trying to go more of international, of having that person take care of the rankings, that person take care of sanction the tournaments, that person kind of be involved in running that league in their country. So when I say, Boyce is the owner of NBL and Super Grands, but I am the president of NBL USA and actually the owner of NBL USA. So that part. But also I am the kind of owner of SKIL, the Sport Karate International League, which is our amateur league. So we have the NBL, which is for the black belts and the higher level competitors, and the SKIL is for our underbelts and maybe also those black belts that are trying to make them way up to the NBL level. So a little bit more than most of the other country presidents, I do have more, more say, if you know what I mean, more, I don't want to say power, but yeah, I mean, power. Yeah. So, right now, Boyce and I work together. His focus right now is trying to get the Super Grands. We're only three weeks away from that. And so the idea for next year would be that he could focus on that throughout the year, getting that ready, getting that prepared, and other things that maybe come up. And I focus on running the NBL, at least for USA. And David Marquez, who is the president of Mexico, does the same thing in Mexico. And, whoever else we get to these other ones. And we are right now working on getting more people and presidents involved. And so hopefully that kind of, explains a little bit. I am still like the go-to person. So when people maybe don't know, or even if maybe it's a country that doesn't have a president yet, I am the person that they need to contact. So that way I can put them in touch with someone or start working on, having someone there.
So how many countries are involved with NBL or IS?
Right now there's about 5 maybe, but we don't have, we're getting the president of Canada right now set up. And we've had people we have tournaments in the BC area, but we do have a lot of support from like the Ontario area. Team United, Trevor Nash's school has always been very supportive of the NBL and stuff, so they follow that as well. And we have some new competitors and teams from like the Quebec area that have been following. And I know Eric Tremblay and his school have been following it some as well. So yeah, I mean, we have that. We have Mexico's big, Guatemala. Those have always been like those 4 have been kind of like our staple areas. And the key thing has always been that we had to make it where every place had to do it this way, which is good and bad. It's hard to get a tournament that's done something for years that we want to get involved to just say, all right, you have to change everything to this. So it's more of a way for us to kind of slowly get them to do that. Have someone in there, not just boys from New York telling them what to do, but have someone that they can see, that's in that like from their point of view,
Sure.
It works in their country and in their culture as well, because everything's different.
Right. So to give everybody that's kind of tuning in a background of how NBL works, it's kind of these individual tournaments that decide to join your league. It's not like NBL created a tournament. It's just that you teamed up with tournaments. So each tournament has their own way of how they want to run things, and then it's just a matter of kind of working with them so that everybody's somewhat on the same page.
Right. So we have always, one of the main requirements, especially getting a new event, especially like a regional event, because we have regionals and we have nationals.
Right.
And nationals have to do everything by the full NBL divisions, which we have 125 NBL divisions. They have to go by the full national level, high level rules, strict, as far as that goes. For the regionals, they have kind of options to kind of get people involved and not say, all right, you have to do this, 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 and this. When we're getting a new tournament, say like Michigan or somewhere, and all their traditional karate schools out there, even though in our rules it says in Japanese you have to wear all white, maybe in their style they wear all black,
Sure.
And so we're not just saying, oh, sorry, you can't, you have to, we tell them at the tournament, okay, this, you're not DQ'd of this, but in the next event or maybe at Super Grands, these are what the requirements are. So it's kind of a step-by-step way of kind of leading them into what we do. NBL, as far as for all the years, has been known as real strict on rules, and not just rules based, but we have a rules book. We have every year a what do you call it? Like a rules at a glance page that kind of shows all the new things that have changed over the year, new rules and stuff. So in everyone's brochures, it's always been that way, on websites. So that way everyone knows what are the updates.
So are there rule changes in 2018?
Let's see if there was any. Most of the ones were done last year. We changed a lot of divisions. We went from 120 to 125, but some of the divisions changed. Like now we have a creative limited division.
What is that?
So it is creative style, meaning that pretty much, for forms, means that there's no flips, no gymnastics techniques is what that means. So gymnastics means anything that is in the way it was always originally, even back in the years before in the rule book, was anything that's in the gymnastics handbook. So even like a split, a kip up, those two are considered that. But round offs, aerials, backflips, anything that's considered gymnastics, or like a barrel roll type thing, because that is still in there.
Barrel roll.
Yeah,
Jeff's so old school. He still calls double legs barrel rolls.
Yeah. No, B twist. Yeah, B twist barrel rolls. Yeah, but yeah. So those are kind of that's what that means pretty much for the forms. So it doesn't limit you on how many spins. There's no spin rule. There's no you can do a double leg as long as you don't go inverted. You can do 540s, cheat 720s, 1080s, whatever. It doesn't limit the martial arts. It doesn't limit your martial arts ability. It's just don't do gymnastics. Don't do stuff that isn't martial arts.
Got it.
You want to up the level of your martial arts ability and difficulty. So that's kind of where it goes with the forms. With weapons, it's those same rules, but no releases. So what we're looking at is more of a creative way to do the form that's still based in martial arts.
Right.
So you can still do, as long as it doesn't leave your hand or wrist or that area 1 inch. We just say 1 inch because it may accidentally pop up, and we're not going to deduct you because of that. That's just. But so you'll have the palm spins, you'll have the wrist rolls, the finger, different things. If you're a comma, you're doing finger rolls, you're doing you can do that stuff. The whole way is like leading into a strike. Because one of the biggest difference you see in NASCA and NBL is the traditional weapons, right? Our traditional weapons, they have to be weighted. They have to be a strict traditional form that's been passed down from years and years and years. And but for NASCA, it just looks like a creative form without the releases and stuff, right?
Got it.
Because it looks like a form from Mike Bernardo in 1990 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
That's really a creative form. It's made up. So that's kind of what it is, but we are adding, a little bit different things. So like I say, is create your difficulty, but kind of within a box,
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people will say stuff like, if you start adding too many rules to creative divisions, then you lose the creativity. But what you're telling me right now makes so much sense, because if you create these constructs of this is martial, you have to keep it in martial arts, you can still get creative in that world without having to resort to non-martial arts things. And I think that's what we see a lot in these other NASCA, obviously. And we don't want to spend a whole episode doing NASCA versus NBL, but you see a lot in the creative division of NASCA is the rules are so broad that in order to win, you have to do crazy non-martial arts things that just are kind of made for the wow factor, not made for the martial factor. So,
right.
Go ahead.
I see as far as, especially since you kind of know, as far as me, when the creative division was created in NASCA, I felt all right, well, this is a division for me.
Yeah.
Kind of thought.
Theoretically, right?
Theoretically, but it didn't really work that way.
No.
Because everyone felt okay, these are the 5 most difficult moves that I can do, and I have to do them, and every form ended up being that way.
Yep.
And I don't want that to happen, with the creative limited, and I think the word limited helps people understand. Okay, it's just creativity, but limited on what you're, able to do to some extent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think, and we want, I'm just seeing so many, creative forms since we've been doing it. I think people at first, anytime that first year, they're like, wait a minute, I can't do this now. I can't do this. I can't do this. Because the way we had to kind of change it. It's like, so if it's a non-musical division, it's a creative limited division. If you do musical, it's either choreographed or open musical. Open musical means not to the beat. It's like background music. So that's your
so you have the two. You actually distinguish your musical divisions based off not to music versus to music.
Yeah. So choreographed and then the other one is like the way you can just go off and to the beat, and without being to the beat.
So okay. So how do you judge? I'm just curious. How do you judge the open division then? If it's or the open musical division, if it's not to music, like what's the standard there? It's just
so. Really, the music is for the the competitor to pump them up, and also entertainment factor. You know what I mean? Like if if it's for the crowd and the audience, and even if you feel like, all right, this is that entertainment factor that the music brings to it, then okay, But I mean, really, it's just I say here we go again. I don't want to get into that whole thing because I always say I don't want NBL and NASCA to be judged against you, but it's naturally going to happen.
Yeah.
But like when I see like a form, a NASCA form per se, musical form will really just be like background music, and it'll be slow build up, and then you go and you just go to beat. Now it doesn't mean every competitor is that way. There are some that are really to the beat, to the tempo.
Just 95% of them.
Yeah.
Just so almost all of them. Yeah.
That would be considered what open musical is, right?
Yeah.
Choreographed traditionally, especially in the NBL, has been maybe a slower form, but you're hitting the dun 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 dun, that kind of time for net type style. But now it's kind of evolved more to more faster pace because martial arts has changed.
Sure.
So you see a little bit of maybe. Like one time I did a form and I put, I can't even think of the name of the song right now, but, a hip hop song in the beginning that went to, and I was actually kicking to the lyrics of the song, and then I mixed it into jump or something like that. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of the, you can tell the difference. Now, does that mean some of the competitors don't do just the same music for both? Yeah, some do, because if they got 12 divisions they're doing, it's hard to change it up for every single one. So,
cool.
Yeah,
I'm just curious. Like, NBL is still like this
I know
mystery. I'm like unraveling, so it's awesome to pick this apart. But like the thing is every time you explain some of the NBL rules, I'm like, that makes so much more sense than what I have been experienced to. Yeah, what I'm used to. Yeah. So so you're telling me that the creative limited division has only been around for a year or two?
This is the year. We are not even like
this is the first year doing it.
Yeah.
And how has it played out this year?
I mean, it's still so. I mean, for me, watching it, like I enjoy it because I enjoy teaching my students and actually I see them enjoying it because it's not because really one of the things I kind of my argument to when this was brought up to bring this division in, I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's see how it is. And it'll make it to where the judge that sits there all day for that same age group doesn't watch the same form 3 times, right?
Yeah.
Now they have the open musical, they have the choreographed musical, and some people change it based on the beats and how it goes, and the rhythm at least is different. And before it was just that same form without music.
Without music,
yeah.
Right.
Now it has to be a whole different thing. And the same thing with weapons. And you've even seen some people switch weapon because they thought, well, I don't know if my weapon form will be the same with that weapon. So like you saw Hunter Orlowski use bow, and he won 2 times this year in Creative Limited. Now, do I think that doesn't mean that commas can't be in this? Because I actually think there's just as much to do with commas in that division as there is the others. Nunchucks I mean, you can do a lot with nunchucks and those without releasing it. So I think if you think of it in a certain way of, all right, how can I do this like this? And if it's hard for you to think of that, that just shows you how difficult it is. You know, people say, oh, it's not difficult anymore. Like, oh, yeah, well, that's pretty difficult. If you're having a hard time coming up with stuff, that's
Exactly.
difficult.
Yeah. So, well, people like in general, I found have a hard time being creative. It's a lot easier to copy whatever the winner's doing, you know, than to try to actually think outside the box. And when you create a totally new rule system and there is no winner to copy yet, then yeah, you're really making everyone actually be creative. So
Right.
that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I have a team of like 15 students that go, you know, everywhere and stuff. And it is hard to do, you know, that many different divisions and change it and this and this and that. And so I get it, you know, that, man, you just made it hard for me or whatever. Yes, but I also feel like it's our job as a league and to better our competitors, our schools, and everything else. And I think overall, this is what will make them better martial artists, better competitors, and overall, you know, people as far as that goes. So.
I agree for sure. I think it's kind of silly to offer divisions where you go ahead and just do the exact same thing, but maybe you take out the music or you take out the tricks, but you're doing the same form. You know, it's like you might as well just have one division and do it right than have all these like.
Other things.
Yeah, if you're gonna have a separate division, you probably should have a separate form. You should train distinctly to win in that particular, you know, set of rules. So the more you can make the rules different, the better. Yeah, the better experience you get from the spectators. More rounded, well-rounded martial artists you get. I think the more fun it becomes. So yeah, I agree.
Right.
You're gonna get complainers and you're making it hard for me and stuff. But in a couple of years, when it's the norm, you're gonna like it'll be fine. But that's awesome. Okay, cool. So one thing that people wanted, I think you get a lot of questions about is the restart rule. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, again, as far as for me, I always think of I may not like something. I may not like a certain rule, but I'm only looking at it through my perspective and why I don't like it, or maybe some coaches say, well, how this affects their students and stuff.
So hold on one second. Sorry to interrupt you, but let's explain what the restart rule is, because there's some people who are like, what are you talking about restart rule?
Pretty much if you say, like, it's only in creative, I mean, contemporary weapons. So that means creative limited, that means musical weapons, those divisions, right? That if say you drop it or you bobble or something, you can use one automatic restart. I hated that rule. I still don't really like it to some extent.
Yeah.
But I understand where it kind of came from and, you know, why it was put into effect. 2005, 2006, you know, when we have super grands, so you compete all year long, you're seeding, what you rank in throughout the year, through the conferences, determines with the order that you go at Super Grands.
Yep.
So it's, you know, it's like a concept like the playoffs and things like that. It's your seeding.
Yep.
Every single person that that's competed throughout the year is seeded based on how they've done throughout the year. Now you have wild cards. People can come in and go first, or compete to try to get into that area. Just after that first round goes, the top two go to stage, right? So we've had this happen several times, is where both competitors drop. I think at the time in our rule, it was that if you dropped, you were either DQ'd or you had to get a lower score or whatnot.
Right.
So when you have on stage for Super Grands both competitors dropping, or one person going and doing, you know, the most difficult form messed up once, the other one just takes everything out and just stops. That was kind of where, okay, well, how do we make this where everyone's doing their best? We're still pushing the difficulty and pushing the development of the sport without, you know, you kind of get what I'm saying, right? As far as that part, that's kind of where it was there. And that's where the restart rule went in effect. You also got to understand the way that so with NASCA, there's 12 tournaments, right? and you take your best 9 or best 8 or whatever. So if you mess up one tournament, you're going to try to go to another one to make that up.
Right.
Our system's not the same thing. We have conferences. So we have a regional conference with maybe only 2 tournaments. So if I mess up that one tournament, both of my weapons divisions,
you're done for everything.
Yeah, so I may not go to the next tournament.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because of that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's just one of the ways to look at it. I don't necessarily I look, all right, well, I have another division to do it at. You know, I'm a competitor. I don't want to restart, you know. We have taken it out. You know, at one point it was all contemporary divisions where there was a restart. We took it out of forums. So we're on the process of kind of getting there. We took it out for grand championships. So now, like at the tournament in our finals, there's no restart. You drop, you're out. You know, the best competitor at that time wins. We are still on the way of getting there. The reason why we kept it in weapons is because of the releases and things, and to make sure that we still want to see that. One of the arguments, and honestly, I've seen it as well too, is some of the competitors, though, like they have it in their mind. I had that restart. So if I drop on this one or if I bobble a little bit, okay, whatever, you know. And when maybe we go to tournaments that we don't have the option, we grit it out and go, you know. So as for me, I mean, I'm sitting here as the president of the USA, I'm telling you there are flaws to some of the things.
Sure.
But I understand one side, I understand the other. And I think to me that's the most important part of what I need to do is understand both sides.
Yeah.
I think too many people think of it just of how this affects me or how this affects this one student or whatever, or how this affects my tournament. And we have to understand, like, with the league that we're trying to run, not just in America, but in Mexico or wherever else.
Yeah.
You know, how, we're still, like, in Mexico and some of the other ones, they're still learning on how to do some of these things because they're so based in traditional martial arts.
Right.
So we're trying to make sure that they have a way to keep pushing themselves and learn as they go.
Yeah, and you're gonna constantly. The thing is that martial arts was never created as a sport. It's like we're taking something that wasn't a sport and we're trying to make a sport out of it. So with that, you're always gonna have some give and take. You're always gonna have some rules you gotta like tweak and modify. And I guess even in sports, even in the NFL changes rules all the time. Yep. They change the distance of field goal kicks and kick returns, and they're always changing rules. So I'm not like I don't think anybody's gonna blame you for enforcing rules whether or not you agree with them. But it's really interesting to hear. I never thought of it from the perspective of that the whole structure of the NBL is fundamentally so different that you really need the restart rule in order to keep people involved going up the ranks because they have to climb a ladder,
right?
Versus the other way where it's just like these individual pockets and like, oh, I failed here, but I won here, and they kind of are independent of each other mostly.
Right.
So that's
right, yeah. So say like I have people that like my one of the conferences that I was part of this past year was the Blue Ridge. We had 4 tournaments. Say if everyone went and did really bad at my tournament first, and they're like, well, that kind of ruins it for me for that regional conference, so I'm going to go to this one in Kentucky. Okay, yes, we're benefiting that, but this person's from Virginia, and we're taking that person and we're losing them to follow their own area because of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so they might actually switch regional circuits just because they perform poorly.
Or they say, hey, we're just not going to do the NBL this year. I mean, that's the extreme. And that doesn't always happen. I mean, I don't want people...
I understand, but that makes sense. I wanted to address some questions that were dropped in the comments section in our chat today. Lacey wanted to know how young can you get started in NBL? What's the beginning age group?
Are they? I guess it means if they're underbelt or black belt. I guess. So like our SKL divisions are all the underbelt divisions. We have. It depends on the tournament, but I think like a Super Grand's the creative division for forms is 4 and under, and I think for fighting there's 4 and under, and then there's 5-year-old.
Four and
Yeah.
under divisions.
Yeah.
That's
So I mean, we have those for everyone as well.
so as long as you're out of
NBL,
diapers.
yeah. So for NBL, the way the divisions are bracketed are divided as 11 and under, 12, 14, 15, 17. So,
Okay.
but we have the big difference is that, especially with forms, is that it's divided by style. So it's not just traditional forms. You have 11 under Korean, 11 and under Japanese, 11 under traditional weapons. And then you have your 11 under female creative, your 11 under male creative, your 11 and under choreographed musical, those. The open musical, and then we also have like Kimpo and soft style. Those are a little bit broader because they're smaller as far as that goes. So,
Can I ask you something about
yeah.
traditional? I've heard a lot of people upset about the traditional divisions, not NBL, but with the whole like throwing the Japanese and the Korean style in the same traditional division, and then the judges seem to be biased towards one style or another.
Right.
Do you like, since NBL separates it a little bit more, do you find that NBL has the same kinds of issues of like style versus style, and one style is weighted, seems to have some preferential treatment over another, or?
I think it honestly depends on the area that you're at. But I don't, and if you as a promoter or whoever the chief referee is has a good job of putting the judges where they need to be at. So, I mean, at one point we had a Korean ring, a Japanese ring. That way you had solely those judges do that. That's hard to do when we have a six in that same division do both, and they're going back and forth. So sometimes it's better to have a traditional ring, only, and you will have Japanese, then Korean will follow. But you need to do a good job of having maybe the center be someone that's well versed in both, right? And then maybe one that's particular Korean, one's particular Japanese, or whatever. It really goes into just doing your job as a tournament producer, an executive producer, not just a promoter. A promoter is someone who just tells everyone to come to their tournament. A producer is someone who creates an event and is really focused on every detail of it.
So when the judges are judging, let's say the Japanese traditional division, Japan has many different subsets of karate. There's like,
right.
I don't even know how many. So
yeah.
Do the judges get that nitpicky? Are they supposed to? Like, you are Zhou Ru and you are this and that, and like do they know the differences? Do they know how to appropriately judge it, or is it more of a overall kind of perspective?
So in our rules, it says these are. So I'll just explain the Japanese rules. There's no more than 4 kiais. You cannot kick above the chest, and it says generally stances are lower, and it's a stronger, let's see,
base, right?
Base, yeah, like
linear strikes and
linear. Yes, exactly. So that's kind of what you have to judge it based on, right? Now, they can't do like a modified form. It needs to be based on that style. So if they say they're doing, go to Shio Show, and they say, it's Shotokan, then we need to see it done that way. And those judges usually, know the difference in how a Shotokan version looks, or a short, or see, I can't even think of the other style that does it, but Goju-Ryu, I think, does it. And there's differences because the horse stance is both feet are facing forward, and the other version they're out. It's
so the judges do need to be versed in multiple styles.
Honestly, like one of the best way, all of us try to do that really well and get well versed people at our tournament. Super Grands honestly does one of the best jobs at getting the judges that need to be there and putting them. You'll have someone says, I only want to judge fighting. Okay, you can judge fighting all week long at Super Grands. That's fine. And you have that person that just wanted to, or I just want to judge traditional. There's a way for them to do that, and so they're judging their base. Now, say like when I go up to say when we compete in Buffalo or like Niagara Falls area, it was more of a Taekwondo kind of area, right? So you would kind of see those people understand that style a little bit more. I still don't. I think within the division we're good. Grands, no matter what, you're always going to kind of see differences. Like I always had a harder time on the West Coast than I did on the East Coast when I competed with my Korean at tournaments. On the West Coast, they really like the Japanese more, the traditional weapons. But that's just the way it is. I mean, it's we would go. It would be really big in Kaju Kimpo and Kimpo. Sorry, those divisions were huge. I mean, there would be 20, 30 in Kimpo, and then you go to another tournament over here on the East Coast, and there'd be one. I mean, just like this.
Yeah.
I mean, the same thing with men's Japanese in Mexico City. That's like their biggest division every year.
Right.
Is not the kids ones, it's men's Japanese. There's 30 to 60. It really depends. I mean, at one point there was 65 in that men's Japanese division at the Mexico City tournament.
It was 65.
65 competitors just in men's 18 plus in one division.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think about 5 years ago they had that. Even this past year they were at like 35 to 40. So it's a lot, so it really shows you how every area is different, and then the whole base of NBL is that you can compete regionally. Say you don't want to travel much, you just want to compete in my regional area, and I just want to do North Carolina, Virginia tournaments or Utah tournaments. You can do that, but you still have a chance to seed and qualify to go to Super Grands, wherever it is, right? So it gives everyone opportunity. You don't have to spend all this money, but then if you want to do more, you want to step up and prepare yourself for all those competitors you're going to see, you can go and do the national tournaments, or you can go and do multiple national conferences, so.
Cool.
I know we're around all kinds of different things, but
we went all over the board, but it's okay.
There's so many.
I have so much to learn. Like you keep...
Yeah. There's so many intricacies and differences. In NBL than NASCA, and that's why I think it shouldn't be you should do one or the other. You should be able to understand how to do both, honestly.
Yeah.
It's just that not everyone has the money to do both.
Right. Well, I mean, if you're short on money and you're not so like stuck on one or the other, then maybe the best thing to do is just go to all the available ones within your reach, right? Because there's going to be NASCA and NBL tournaments within driving distance to wherever you live, and you should should hit up both.
And so the difference is, so say if you just go to the NASCA tournaments in your area, well, you may do 4, right? 4 is not really going to give you any kind of seed or anything like that, or even give you
It's not enough.
ranking. Yeah, but 4 in NBL, if you do the ones that you could have a #1 seed and go last at Super Grands, or you could be in that top 3 to the end at Super Grands.
And that seems a lot more fair.
Right, and the other thing that people don't know or don't understand either is that at NBL tournaments, we don't have seeds. The only one that's seeded is Super Grands. So it's random draw. So it's fair to everyone. There's not that, as soon as you come in, there's a block saying, okay, this is as high as you can get, or this is, all right, these people are here, you are here.
Right, you got to work your way up.
Yes, it's based on it's a fair system, you know what I mean?
NBL, and NASCA, from based off of what we're talking about here, NASCA certainly sounds like it's going to cost you. You got to buy your way into the league. You got to first of all be willing or have the money to fly your family across the country every single month, basically, almost all year round, to go to these high level, very expensive tournaments. And then you got to do that for several years in order till you get to the spot where you're even seeded to have a chance at winning. And that's that's a lot versus the other system here. It's way more akin to like how other sports might be, like how the NFL might be. Like you got to win your division, you got to win your local area, and then you qualify to go on. So you don't. The barrier to entry to get into these tournaments and compete in the national thing, it's like now you only have to worry about traveling to one national event a year, which is the Super Grands, versus hopping around all over the country, which, obviously hopping around all over the country in NASCA is a lot of fun.
Yeah. There's good and bad to both. For me, when I would always do 2 national conferences. I would do the East Coast one, the Can-Am, and then I would go to the West Pac, and do the West Coast tournaments. That way, I got that kind of travel experience. That's still only 4, maybe 5 tournaments I needed to go to or whatever, right?
Cool. Yeah, that's true.
But there was a way to do that. This next year, my tournament is a double national, so I'll be part of the Can-Am with myself and Slugfest, which is in New Orleans, and then my tournament is also with Mexico City. So we're really trying to get some more international kind of mix there. So that way, if people from Mexico want to come and compete in America and against Americans and other people, then they can, and then vice versa. So yeah, I mean, it's just it is completely different. One of the things that I think some people don't really know, they know that I've kind of been everywhere, but they don't really know that I started. I'm from the Southeast. I'm from Virginia, so our local circuits, a lot of them were based kind of in NBL. But I didn't really start doing NBL until 1998, kind of.
It's fresh chicken, man. It's brand new.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So, but I started in NASCA, and nationally, that was where I started. So in 1994, I came on and started doing NASCA, and I was one of the rare Cajuns that came unseeded and won my first 5 tournaments. But for me, what I always liked about NBL was that I could remain in my local area, but also go to different ones. And at the time, too, you're only allowed to do 1 division in NASCA. You're only allowed to do 1 form, 1 weapons, whatever. And there were so many things that I was like, oh, man, this is awesome. This NBL thing's cool. I'm going to go learn a soft style form. I'm going to go do this and this and that,
Yeah.
And it still gives you that. There's still more different styles, different things. We have a self-defense division that you are ranked in. We have breaking that you are ranked in. You have continuous fighting that is a NBL division that you are ranked in throughout the year. You have team forms, team fighting. There's so many things. I have a kid that is going to Super Grand Series doing 15 divisions or something like that, and
wow,
wants to do it all.
Do you guys?
So it's unlimited.
Does NBL give away a? I don't know if any circuit does this, but I think it'd be amazing if you gave away an overall title, who.
Yeah,
the most well-rounded martial artist who gets point.
Right. So every year, Super Grands, after Super Grands, once all the tallies come from what happened at Super Grands, there's a overall competitor, number 1 competitor. That means that you pretty much earned the most points you won the most championships, you won the most this or that. For junior male, junior female, adult female. And so we do that. We do that for schools as well. So we do a top 25 ranking system.
Cool.
For the schools that pretty much everyone that's under your school, you either a third place is 1 point, a second place is 2 points, a first place is 3 points.
Cool.
And that's kind of the way it works. And so at the end of the year, you get a certificate and then a plaque that you can put at your school that says the top 25 and where you're at. And so, that's something that's always been cool. We've really pushed the schools,
be a little
more
competitive,
more than maybe the team. We still do the same thing for the team. Whoever had the most points for a team of the year. So
sure. That's cool. I think that's smart. I think you'll find jiu-jitsu does that too, where their tournaments also focus on how the school as a whole did, and they'll calculate that school's points and stuff. I think it's a smart thing because it builds teams and it incentivizes schools to show up in large numbers and build that competition spirit in their school. It's good.
Right. Yeah. For me, my students are just so pumped because they know that whatever they do and however well they do, it benefits the team, and it's not kind of help.
Yeah. It's awesome. I got a question here from Carrie, and I'm not sure if this applies to NBL or not. I know NASCA used to be this way. It says, just a suggestion, how about seeing the entire division before scoring instead of the first 3? What do you think about that?
All right, so this is another big kind of rule change that we have actually, the first time ever, we have 2 options for scoring that we've been doing throughout the year. I knew there was something else I needed to bring, and I needed to show you what it was, and I don't have that right now, so I knew there was something I was forgetting. So at Super Grands this past year, we brought out a new scoring system that was like a sheet, and it says, instead of just say I have a traditional judge, or maybe they like traditional more, they have some creative base, but they're judging this creative form, or they only like kicks, and they're going to do whoever had the best kicks. They're going to give them first.
Yep.
They think that's what But this thing has 25% based on this amount, 25% on this amount, 25% on this. So meaning like creative forms, you have 25% on entertainment and difficulty, right?
Yep.
And so you give them a 20 to 25. So whatever you give them, that's there for that.
Cool.
You have the execution of technique, so 20 to 25. You have I of course can't think of all this stuff right now. Maybe the intensity or whatever. Yeah. So each one like that, right? So you add those numbers up, that creates your 10. So you add them up, you have 9.95. Yeah. Whatever they added up to, it was going to be because of the 20 to 20, So that's the way we do that. So you're actually giving someone a score and not just ranking them.
And you only do that at Super Grands.
Right. So that's okay. At Super Grands, that's how we're doing it because of the seating, right? We are watching. Last year we did it where we watched everyone. And we learned that there was a lot of complaints because they were kind of like, all right, so I go all year long to get my seating and to where I go matters, and now you're going to watch and score them all at the end. There's some of that. I mean, I think, but also with the system, if we watch them all in and they're writing it down, it takes a really long time for all of them to change each one based on who they saw, right? So it took really long in between.
It is hard. Yeah. If you have 8 competitors,
there's adding and stuff. There's adding and everything like that. It's not just like the tick kind of system they do in ASCA, right?
Right.
So we do the first 3, and then you judge them as they go because you're giving them a score. You're not ranking them to each other. You're actually scoring them against themselves, right? With this system.
Yeah.
It's kind of more like a gymnastics kind of scoring or another type of scoring.
You know what it's like? It's like school. It's like trying to pass a test, and that's your rubric and your grades.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's the way that we're going to do it at Super Grands. We'll watch the first 3. We'll go like that. Some of our tournaments did it this year. Some worked well. Some it didn't. It's hard to sit a judge down and then just like, here, do this.
It's a lot of paperwork.
Whoa, what is this? What is this? So
yeah.
I think for the year, most of our tournaments will do the watching everyone. And then, kind of doing the ranking system. But for me, I want to give them that sheet so they know what
they know what they need to work on.
Exactly.
What the judges actually thought of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also just what the judge has to judge based on the division and the criteria of the division.
It makes the judges more accountable too. Because then if you see a low score for a certain thing and it's like, why, it doesn't make any, they have to justify their score.
One thing can't outweigh the other, you know what I mean? And that's what happens a lot of times. Oh, he went really high on this. His tricks are way better than us. Yeah, but did he chamber once? No, he didn't. So, you got to think about this or that. And so I think that we're getting there, and I think for me, that's the most important thing is showing that we know where we want to be, and we can admit, hey, we're trying. We're trying to get to this. That's going to make it, and we're going to keep kneeling and working on it, and seeing how it goes. At least I am. So.
Yeah, Carrie says there should be judging by the performance. There should be no bias. There'll always be bias. Well, Carrie, I mean, these are human beings judging human beings. Martial arts is 50% arts. There's no way to remove subjectivity, no matter what you say, because whatever your interpretation is a bias in itself, right? So I get it, but it also is almost silly to suggest removing bias from judging. But being accountable is, I think, what's important. Being able to explain why you judged the way you did, and I think there's the rubric system here is a cool way to do it. It's actually something I thought of as a great way to do it. I didn't know it actually was being implemented. So
Yes.
Again, it's another thing where it's like, all right, NBL, like the more I'm learning, like I like this rule too. This is a rule I thought would be great.
Yeah. Yeah. It's there are, and unfortunately, you know, that's where we have to let more people understand and know. I think where people are so used to certain things, no matter how much it makes sense, it's still like, whoa, you know, it's still so different than what I'm used to.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So Jeff, we're almost out of time, and
Yep.
we've been having an awesome conversation about the sport and rules and stuff, but I would be doing an injustice, a disservice to my wolf pack if I didn't bring up this topic. A few episodes ago, I lost my temper, and I got really mad at NBL's website because of how outdated it is. Oh, Jeff's falling off the frame here. He's sliding away on the side of the screen. So I gotta ask you, well, you know, what's up with NBL's website, because it is worse than a 12-year-old's MySpace page. I mean, it is real bad. Do you have any plans with that site? Like, what's going on there?
Yes. I mean, I want to, with everything right now, what I'm trying to do is learn the system that's in place now.
Mm-hmm.
So that way I can learn how to do it better or a different way. What works, what doesn't. The website is part of that. The rankings is part of that. All that kind of goes together. Yeah, I agree. Even trying to help and put the rankings up, I'm noticing things that this won't work on this, you know, and it won't work on this system, and it won't, you know, and you can only look at it through this browser, and that's not good. That's not what we need. So I want to kind of start working on that, and next year, that's one of the things, you know, I hope to help boys, you know, do, and you know, I understand and I know that, and so that's one of the things that we got to work on. So I mean, that's really all I can really say, because I don't want to get into all the details of it because
it's you want to talk about martial arts and not weapons.
Yeah.
But I just want to put a little, you know, fire under your feet there, because it's something that definitely, if you guys had a decent website, it would go such a long way into marketing the NBL, getting more people excited about it. If you have a professional, you know, media, obviously I deal with media all the time, so I have a strong bias towards media, but having a strong media presence and having a professional website is definitely critical.
Right. And I'm really trying to do that through, you know, our Facebook page, through Instagram and everything else. But, you know, I noticed, you know, it's still, you know, I have to send them to that site. So I understand.
Yep. All right, cool. Well, I didn't want to, well, we spent a whole 2 minutes on that subject, so that's all we need to talk about. But I felt like it had to be mentioned, because I had a huge Wolfman rant about it a little while ago.
Of course. I know.
We still got some debate going on here about this whole deviation, first three people up kind of thing.
Yes. No, we do have deviation in NBL 2 now. So in case I didn't say that, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So we do, instead of a 2, it's 3 in NBL now. So so that way, because we always had 5 judges, and that was we took that away last year, and there's good and bads with that, you know. It's everyone's experienced that. It's hard to get 5 in all these rings. But we have a 3 deviation. So because through the new system, the range is a little bit wider. It goes 9.90 to 10. 9.80 to 10. And so I mean that's one of the things there. I do think that doing the way our system works with outseeding throughout the year and everything else, I do think that maybe watching everyone first is better throughout the year, and then doing it this way at Super Grands, you know, it kind of goes together. Some people don't like that you compete it with it one way at this and one way that. You know, that's up for debate. I mean, I think we could just keep seeing how it all works and try to everyone be fair and you know, make sure the best person wins. You know.
Cool. Fair enough. If you guys have any other questions, I got like a minute or two left, so maybe we can take one more question or so, and then we're gonna wrap up today's episode because we only get an hour to do this. Jeff, can you tell us a little bit about Super Grands, what's going on, when it is, and what you got going on this year?
Yes, sir. So the Super Grands is December 26th through 31st. And yes, so that always is crazy for me. I'm really a big, big into church and religion and my Christianity and stuff. So it's a big, it's tough for me always, dealing with that. My brother is a worship leader. So we're heavily involved in this time of the year. Also, my birthday is Christmas Day. So, yeah. So it's crazy, but this is what I do this. And so it's that week. It's in Buffalo this year. So honestly, though, no matter what, it's the venue, the place is great. Everything is kind of around. It's all in one area. We have the Super Grands. We have the SKIL all week long. The finals, we have a finals almost every night. The top two from every division compete against each other head-to-head for their world title. The top three get the black belts with the NBL that you see behind me. And then the winner gets a ring. So every division this year, 125 NBL divisions, gets a ring, even continuous. Yes, wow. I know a lot of people are excited for that now. And and then the last night we do the last day is really focused just on the underbelts, and then we do the awards banquet that night with overall grands throughout the time. So I think we will be having a live stream each night. We have someone from your area or Illinois actually that's coming to do that, and so so I'll be updating everyone on that. I'm excited. There's a lot of different things that we're doing. I'm sorry. Another thing, we're also having ring sports as well in another area that day as well. We have kind of like a martial arts, kind of a lot of vendors, some opportunity for people like to learn about how to run their school better, how to do this or that. Lawrence Arthur from my area will be up there. He's actually my instructor as well, doing clinics and things on helping people that way as well. So we're working just to make it more, some for everybody.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It's a long week, but for me, it's like, for all of us that follow NBL, it's our culmination of the year. It's fun, it's exciting, it's stressful, but I mean, overall, it's really cool. No matter what, no matter how many people are there, no matter who is there, no matter what, it doesn't take away from what everyone's worked for throughout the year and how hard they work. So yeah. It's exciting, and just I meant to show some videos of kind of like what the Super Grand stage. So I mean, I can
play a video right now. Is there?
Yeah, we always do a good job at that, and the finals are really cool. The backgrounds are cool, and that's something that that's fun.
Is there a video in particular that you think would be a good?
I'd say like a 2010 Super Grands. I really like that background. That was cool. I think that was the year we did Indiana Jones type theme. So.
All right, hold on, everybody. Let's get a.
And the past 2 years, we've kind of done Star Wars. So Star Wars theme has kind of been, the big deal, especially now. We can do it every time because December is when Star Wars comes out.
Perfect.
It's funny.
Thanks, Disney.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's like a highlight. So if you see like, just how, that's really extreme. That was one of our best ones, I think.
The flames in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, Super Grands always has a cool look to it.
Yeah. And sure. So, we've always done, the big timer in the back and everything like that. I mean, there's just different things that, that we try to do to make sure.
Put on a show.
Make
an experience, yeah.
It's hard. There's always,
hold on.
Everyone wants. Yeah.
Wait. I gotta pause this video. So there it is. Is that the loser in the background? That skull? Did they lose? Is that what
yeah. That's funny. That's awesome. But yeah, so the it's really cool to
Sage Northcutt.
Yep.
Did you guys see that? Wait, that was real quick. Hold on, everybody. I'm gonna pause right there.
Oh.
Boom. You know who this is? Sage Northcutt.
Yes.
UFC superstar right there.
Exactly.
Killing it on Super Grands.
We have a lot of our NBL competitors that have turned in, to big stars, and it's really cool. Sage, his sister's going to be on the way. Of course, Raymond Daniels started with the NBL, and that's one of the awesome things we do as well as
there's
Alex.
that guy.
And with the breaking is really big at Super. I mean, it just gets intense. It's really cool.
Jericho.
Yeah. So we have something for everybody. The seniors. There you go. The seniors get on stage as well. So that's something cool. So I enjoy Super Grands week. It's getting harder and harder for me because I have more responsibility.
Sure.
But it's exciting. So
awesome. Well, that's exciting. I'm
gonna.
Let's transition back over here. There's a little sneak peek for those of you that have never experienced Super Grands. It's always it's an interesting time of the year, but if you are competing in the NBL, like, you definitely make it worth, it's worth it to you.
Right.
And we could probably we could have a whole hour-long episode about Super Grands.
Right. And I didn't even get to really explain, how the seating works, how this and that. And that's something that we did this past year in the Southeast, is have an event to where we can kind of educate the parents and the student and people. And this next year, we'll try to do the same thing again. And I really hope that each region kind of ends up having these events where we recognize everyone for what they've done throughout the year, and then also do seminars all throughout the day. And it was really cool that we got to do that a couple weeks ago in North Carolina. And that's something else that we're trying to do. One more little thing.
Sure.
So the nationals this year, we have 4 nationals in America, in the USA. That is myself, the Grand Slam Open in April, Jam On Nationals in Houston in May, El Paso, Battle of Champions, El Paso in July, and New Orleans, Slugfest in New Orleans in August. All 4 of these, we have 2 different conferences. So every winner of the Grand Championship champions in my tournament, their first division will be free at Jamal. And then the same thing so the winners that win at Jamal, their first division is free at El Paso. Same thing. So that way we're all kind of working together.
Oh, cool.
It doesn't just be, all right, I did well, I won my prize, that's it. Here, now you're able to go to this one, and we'll give you a little incentive.
Awesome.
Appreciating the competitors. We are changing our grands completely just for those 4 tournaments. We're doing for the juniors, we have 11 and under traditional grands, 11 and under creative limited grands, and 11 and under musical grands. The winners of those, so the winner of 11 under traditional grand, they get that 11 under spot in the overall traditional grand for the finals. So we'll have 3 overall grands in the finals: a creative limited, a musical, and a traditional, right? And then with different ways. So it's a little similar to the way the NASCA does theirs, but we're going to have only 3 people in each one, and only 3 overall grands.
And how can people learn more about all of this stuff? Where can they go?
So this part, stay focused on the NBL page. This is where I'm putting all of this out.
The Facebook page, the Facebook group, or
yes.
Page?
Both, because I shared on all of it. So I have the NBL Facebook page, and then I put it in the NBL fan club group page. Cool. And so we have all that going on there. Also the Instagram, the NBL Instagram. And so
what's the NBL Instagram name?
NBL Karate is what it is.
Okay.
And so we'll just trying to get more into that. Also for our junior fighters, we are doing an overall junior fighting grand. There's 5 of them.
Cool.
There'll be 11 under one, a 12-14 boys, a 12-14 girls, a 15-17 boys, 15-17 girls. All 4 of those events. That way, everyone, it's really about giving everyone an opportunity. In the past, our grands have been only choreographed musical goes, only Japanese goes, only Korean goes, and those are the grands based on that style. We're going to try it differently this year and see how it goes, and if it doesn't, then we change it and work on the next time.
Sure.
And but I think trying to give more opportunities to be shown. So.
Awesome. All right, Jeff,
Sure.
we're gonna wrap up this episode. Don't sign off yet. Stay tuned, Jeff, for a second. But everybody
Yes.
else, I want to thank you for joining us today. Another awesome episode number 52.
Yeah.
Jeff laid down all the secrets of NBL and had a good discussion. And the more and more I hear about NBL and the rules, and the more that I get excited about it, because they do a lot of the things that in my head I'm like, this is how the martial arts circuit should run. And I'm always just stuck in my NASCA world, not realizing there's this other world out there where they're actually doing the things I'm envisioning.
Right.
So that's really cool. I hope you guys tune in tomorrow and every single day. But if not, have a good life. All right.
Yes, awesome.
That
Thank
was
you,
a
guys.
downer. All right. I'm just being weird. All right, Jeff, thanks for tuning in. Wolfpack, thanks for tuning in. Check y'all later. Peace out.